What up, Homedawgs? My name is Gokey Gamer, coach of the Milwaukee Medichams, and welcome everybody to Season 1 of the LBBA, the Light Bulb Battle Association. Very excited to be taking part in this league. This is actually Josh's league rebranded. So this is, you could also say this is Josh's league Season 2, but now it's rebranded to the LBBA, so I'm just saying Season 1 just because I think it's easier that way. And this is a very exciting format. I'm very excited to be taking part. Obviously, you can see my team here. We'll be talking about it in just a second. But I figured, you know what? I have the energy for it. Might as well record it now. I was just finished a battle, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump into it now. Let's do it. And, yeah. So, very excited for this season. I believe it's upload required, if I remember correctly. Yes, it should be upload required. So, that'll also be very exciting, too. But, yeah, so, without any further ado, you guys know Josh's league at this point. They're doing things slightly differently, so instead of, like, super high league Terra, you know, like, the higher tier Terra, like, you know, being able to Terra Raging Bolts, for example, or, like, Enamorous Incarnate, which is the one we had. Instead, they actually took out a lot of the upper tier Pokemon. So, like, Palafin wasn't there, Spectre obviously wasn't there, Garchomp wasn't there, that's one that's usually there. There's a few others that were, like, taken out. So, overall, it was very interesting to see kind of all that play out. So, a lot of teams, there's still a lot of, like, big threats. And there was a lot of threats that I really wanted to pick up, or at least I was interested in. Goldengo, I believe, was the first pick, so that was still on the board, but there's a few others that were, like, still there, but, you know, anyways. I was 14th out of 16, so a lot of the picks that I ended up wanting were at least interested in got taken. So there's only one Pokemon, we'll talk about that in a second, but there's only one Pokemon that I was like, you know what, I'm kind of interested in this, let's go for it. And then I was like, you know what, frick it, let's build a sand team. So as you can see, a little bit of spoiler, but we have a mini sand core. And I really like this sand team. I think this is a really good sand team, in my opinion anyways. I don't think it's the best team in the league necessarily, but I really like it a lot. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. So, the first Pokemon, Excadrill. I was like, you know what, Excadrill is the Pokemon that interests me the most in this format. I might as well run Sand. I haven't run Sand in a very long time. I don't think I've run Sand at all in Gen 9. So, no. I have had Excadrill on a team, but I didn't have Sand. So, I haven't run Sand at all in Gen 9. It's been since Gen 8 since I've run Sand. And I was like, you know what? I've got the Mono Sun team in SPVA. Or, well, I should say, I had it. I've got currently the UCDL Mini Raincore team. Let's go ahead and get Sand. So, we're going to do a little bit of a thing where it kind of like, you know what, for the sake of ingenuity, we're going to go ahead and talk about things backwards after we talk about Excadrill. So, we'll talk about Excadrill, then we'll talk about my Sand Setter, and then we'll go backwards. Because I think that's kind of funny. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So yeah, Excadrill. Sand Setter, phenomenal Pokemon, being able to spin, easy, best hazard remover in the game, arguably. Iron Shreds and Great Tusk were both not available, I think, at this point, or like they weren't in the dock. So, like they were both banned from the league. So, Excadrill is the best spinner in this format, and I didn't grab it for that purpose, I grabbed it for Sand, but it also helps a lot just immediately grabbing a spinner, because a lot of people were struggling trying to find a spinner later on in the draft. So I got very lucky that I got mine immediately. And that was very nice. Excadrill, ground steel type, hits like a nuke. I love it a lot. Being able to set up an SD, it's surprisingly bulky too, which is absolutely phenomenal. So literally just set up a Swords Dance and then Excadrill wins the game. Sneasler I don't think is in this game, so we don't have to worry about Sneasler, which is great. And yeah, I think Excadrill can be a very surprising threat in this format. I'm really hoping it pops off a lot. So, next up, let's talk about a Sand Setter, Hippowdon. So, Hippowdon I ended up picking up because A, it was significantly cheaper than Tyranitar, B, I felt like it suited this team better overall, and C, I hate going up against Hippowdon. I have lost every single battle that somebody has brought Hippowdon into me, and it is very frustrating, and I don't like that Pokemon, so I was like, I'm picking it up so that way I can put that pain to other people, because I don't like Hippowdon. I literally am nicknaming it I'm Sorry. That's, you know, yeah. So, Hippowdon, it runs one thing, but it does it really well. It's like Stealth Rock, Slack Off, Earthquake, Yawn. That's all you need. Obviously, you can run a rock move if you really want to try to catch a flyer off guard, and I definitely think flyers are going to be coming up against us, so that is something we have to keep in mind. But I do believe that I have some pretty good checks for flying types. I think that even Hippowdon can be a light check to flying types sometimes, depending on what flyer it is. So I can exchange rocks for a rock move if I really want to do that. And yeah, overall Hippowdon it's not a fun Pokemon to go up against, but I'm excited to use it because I think it suits my playstyle very well. So hopefully Hippowdon can show off why it's so annoying on my team as opposed to my opponent's team. Yeah. So, next up, we're going to talk about the 2 Terra Captains that I got. So these 2 Terra Captains, at this point in the draft, I was like, I desperately needed to fill out speed tiers. I needed to fill out between Diancie and Mandibuzz, and I also needed to fill out between Excadrill and Superior. We'll talk about those picks later, but I really needed to fill out those picks. So I was like, I saw these 2, I saw the amount of Terra points that I had, and it ended up being a perfect amount. After this draft, I had a perfect, like, 0 points remaining, and then I had 1 Terra point remaining. So that was very, very exciting. We were allowed 25 points to Terra. So the first pick that we'll talk about is Terra Glaceon. I picked up Terra Glaceon because I was like, I want an Ice type, I want one with Freeze Dry, I think that's very crucial. I also felt like Terra Glaceon was extremely cheap. It's only 3 points to Terra. I was like, that's a very big steal. Obviously, it's slow, and that's like the main thing with Glaceon, is you really want it to be faster than it is, but you can fix that by running Trailblaze or Choice Scarf, you know what I mean? And Terra Ground is the most common Terra you run on Glaceon, just because, like, Ice Ground coverage is absolutely phenomenal. I thought about picking up Mamoswine for a while, but Terra Glaceon can just nuke things. And even, like, water types that are typically the best check for Ice Ground types don't want to switch in on a Freeze Dry. So Terra Glaceon is just absolutely phenomenal on this team, in my opinion. I think having an Ice type that has Freeze Dry, a very powerful Freeze Dry as well, is absolutely insane, especially in a format that doesn't have Kyurem. So I'm very excited about Glaceon here. I think it's going to put in a lot of work. Next up, let's talk about Carboniferous, the Omega making a return. I didn't talk about this. Excadrill's nickname is the Underminer from The Incredibles. Glaceon's nickname is McFlurry, as it always is. Champion name had to come back. And now let's talk about Carboniferous, the Omega, Terra Omega. Kill leader in a previous SPDA season, which is really awesome. I think it won an award in that season too. I don't remember what award it was. I think it was Best Terra Captain. I think Omega won Best Terra Captain in that league. So I'm very excited that it's a Terra again. It was 8-point Terra, and it filled up the speed tiers that it needed it to. It gave me just a super powerful Pokemon with speed boost as well, so it forces you to still, like, possibly scarf your, like, speedy Mons, just so that way not only do you need to outspeed Excadrill, but you also need to outspeed a speed boosting Omega. Also, Omega, I don't think, especially in this format, I won't need to run Speed Boost as often. I can probably get away running Terrabug Tinted Lens, which is a set that I really want to bring more often. I only got the chance to bring it a couple of times in the last time I had it, so I'm hoping that I can actually show it off a bit more, because it is really a fun tech to have. Terra Omega is on the team. I'm very excited about it. Terra Glaceon and Terra Omega filled out the speed tiers that I desperately needed filling, and I think it did a really great job at both. So, very excited about it. I think it's going to put in a lot of work. And, yeah, Terra Omega, there you go. Also, another common Terra you run on Terra Omega is Terra Ground. So, once again, being immune to sand, obviously really great. And I think especially with Excadrill, I don't think hazards are going to come as often, as well as another pick you'll see in a bit. But I really don't, I think hazards are going to be discouraged against my team. So I think Omega looks really, really solid and doesn't have to run boots every week, which is great. Next up, let's talk about Dragalge. So at this point, I was looking at Haxorus, I was looking at Terra Gudra. There's a lot of Pokemon that I was looking at to fill out this slot, and I also realized that I needed a grounded poison. I was thinking about running Weezing, but I was like, I'm going to run Levitate every week because this is a sand team, and I want a grounded poison type. I don't want to have to run, like, neutralizing gas every week, because despite the fact that I do have Excadrill, which is a steel type, so I don't have to run boots for toxic spikes, I think grounded poison is still a really good shout. And then I realized that Dragalge was still on the board, and after thinking about it for a very long time, because I really wanted more physical threats, I was like, you know what, frick it, I already have the next Pokemon we'll talk about. I have Hippowdon, I have Excadrill. I mean, I didn't have Hippowdon, but I would basically have Hippowdon. Might as well go ahead and grab Dragalge. Dragalge with adaptability hits like a truck. Nothing wants to switch on Draco Meteor. Having a slow flip turn with Poison Touch, I believe. Does it get Poison Touch? I believe it does. It's either Poison Point or Poison Touch. I think it gets Poison Touch. But False Hydra, being able to just pivot, slow pivot around is absolutely phenomenal for my team. And I think it's going to put in a lot of surprising work. I think people aren't going to prep for it as much, and I think as a result, I think it'll pick up at least a kill or two each game it comes to, or at least I hope, because adaptability goes absolutely insane, or even just pivoting around also goes absolutely crazy. Also gives me a specially defensive wall, which is the main reason I was looking at Terra Gudra. I really wanted more Spadef bulk on my team, and I think that Dragology is a perfect fit for that. Also gave me the points I needed for my Terra captains. So there we go, that's Dragology, and yeah, next up is a pick that I'm excited for, and that's Ceruledge. I was actually talking to Zach Mander about it. Zach Mander fully convinced me to do it. You'll see my speed tiers aren't the best in the 80s, and that's why I was thinking about either picking up Embor or Arcanine, the regular form of Arcanine, because of the fact that regular form Arcanine was cheaper than Hisuian Arcanine. I was like, I don't want two rock types. I want a defensive fire type, basically. I wanted a defensive fire type that preferably could heal. And Embor can't heal, but it filled out a speed tier that I needed, and so did Arcanine. I also was thinking about Embor just because it gave me a fighting type, which you can see on my team I don't have, which is unfortunate, but we'll get to that in a bit. I was thinking about Arcanine a lot because of Morning Sun, but then I was like, that does not synergize at all with the Sand, because Morning Sun works best if it's in the sun. If it's neutral, it recovers half. If it's in the sun, I think it recovers even more. And then if it's in, like, a different weather, it recovers only a third, I think. So I was like, that's not great either. And I thought about it, I was like, this gives me a ghost type as well to help block spin. Might as well go ahead and grab Ceruledge. So Ceruledge is on the team. Very, very excited. This gives me a weak armor, so it gives me a way to sweep that isn't Sand Rush and also speed boost, so I have multiple ways of like controlling speed, which is great. And you'll also see a little bit more as well. But regardless, Ceruledge is here. Bitter Blade, recovering HP is phenomenal. Being able to set up bulk ups is phenomenal. There's a lot of things I think Ceruledge can do on this team, and I'm really excited about it. I had it in another league, I think, and I didn't do super well with it, but at least I kind of remember that. I might be remembering it wrong. Actually, did I even ever draft it? I can't remember. I can't remember. Regardless, oh, I think it might have been PPL and then next. I might have had Ceruledge. I don't know. Regardless, I'm very excited to actually use Ceruledge on this team. I think it's a really great fit. After drafting it, I realized I made the right choice. So I'm very excited about Ceruledge. I think it's going to do a lot of great things, being a bulky wall or just nuking stuff. So, very excited about it. I'm hoping it'll put in a lot of work. Next up on the team, we're going to talk about is Reuniclus. I was looking at Reuniclus for like the last several rounds before I ended up picking it up, and I was like, you know what? I can't think of anything else. I was also drafting this while I was traveling, so I was like, I don't want to keep people waiting 2 hours while I'm in the air. I'm going to go ahead and pick up Reuniclus. I was like, frick it. Reuniclus is a Pokemon I've been looking at, and I'm really glad I picked it up as well. Reuniclus is just such a bulky Pokemon. Also, all three abilities function really well in the sand, being able to regenerate HP on switches, being able to be immune with the other two abilities, with Magic Guard and Overcoat. I think it's just absolutely phenomenal. So, Reuniclus, I think, gels really well with the sand. It does really great in it, it does really great out of it, and I think it just functions really well in that way. I'm very excited about Reuniclus. I think it's going to put in a lot of work. I think it's going to be a nuke. Also, being able to set up Trick Room, so I can punish speedy teams with Trick Room, which I think is absolutely crucial for my team as well, since I have so many slower Pokemon. Also, you know, not being able to outspeed, like, major threats that are in base 120s, you know, or even, like, base 115. You know, I have a very slow team, and I'm not used to having a slow team. So, I think having a Trick Room threats, multiple Trick Room threats, is absolutely phenomenal. So, I'm very excited about Reuniclus. I think it's going to put in a lot of work. And, yeah. Next up on the team, let's talk about Superior. Superior is a very interesting Pokemon that I have never drafted before. I've been interested in it, but I just never saw the opportunity for it. But I realized that if there was an opportunity, it was this one. I wasn't sure at first because I was like, I don't know if it functions well in the sand, but then I realized that I needed speed, and I wasn't going to get much more speed opportunities because a lot of speedy Pokemon were already gone by this point. And I was like, Jolteon doesn't fit on this team, there's a bunch of other Pokemon that don't really fit. Superior is the best option for this team for speed. So I went ahead and grabbed it, also because of the fact that, yes, I can't run Synthesis, but I can run Leaf Storm and the Giga Drain. So that's pretty awesome. And also, like, glare stuff, you know, I can set up Sub, I can Leech Seed, I can be annoying, you know. I think Superior does really well in and out of sand. So I think it was one of the better grass types. It gives me a Earthquakes check as well, because I really wanted to make sure that I had checks for ground types. and I think that my team does a really great job of doing that. Yes, I have Ceruledge and Dragology, but I have multiple Levitators, and I have a grass type that isn't grass poison. So that's why I grabbed Superior. Also, being able to immediately punish ground types as well is absolutely phenomenal with Superior. So I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to do a lot of great things on this team. And I think if I get an opportunity to set up sweep with it, I think I would not be surprised if there is a sweep with Superior at some point. Next up, you know her, you love her, it's Mandibuzz. On a sand team, I feel like you have to draft Mandibuzz. I think Mandibuzz is dang near a requirement for sand teams, just because of the fact that it has Overcoat, so you're immune to sand. You can run Weak Armor if you want. This gives me a second Weak Armor user, and I might end up doing that at some point. I think that'd be very fun. But it's such a bulky Pokemon. You can take rock moves from Ground-type Pokemon, which is insane with Mandibuzz. Also being able to outspeed a lot of ground types as well and just go for Roost to recover that HP. And then, you know, if they predict that and go for an Earthquake, it does even less damage. It gets Iron Defense, it gets Defog, it gets a lot of great things. Foul Play, Toxic. Like, Mandibuzz is a bulky Pokemon that is going to be super annoying for my opponent's team. Also, again, a lot of times you want to run Rocky Helmet on Mandibuzz because of the fact that, you know, it's a bulky Pokemon. But you worry about that because of hazards. However, the nice thing is, Excadrill switches in on rocks and eats them for breakfast. So, I think Mandibuzz here is an absolutely phenomenal Pokemon on this team. I think it's going to do a lot of really great things. I would have definitely loved to have another spinner, but I think having one spinner and a defogger is enough. Especially when that spinner is the best spinner in the format. But anyways, regardless, that is my Mandibuzz. You know what she does. You know her. You love her. Love to see it. Also, I don't think I ever talked about my nicknames. The Ceruledge is nicknamed Zachmander, after Zachmander. He requested that I nickname it after him, and I was like, bet. Reuniclus, I believe I named Genesis. Yes, Reuniclus is named Genesis. Superior is a bit up in the air, but right now her name is Regal, so I might name it to Royalty. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. Regal Snake, maybe? Who knows? We'll see. And of course, Mandy the Mandibuzz. Has to be the same. And now let's talk about Gemstone of the Antsy! If you're new on this channel, then you don't... If you're familiar with the channel, you don't need an introduction to Terra Diancie. Terra Diancie is my all-time kill leader from both Gens 8 and 9, I'm pretty sure. So, Terra Diancie is just going to absolutely tear through my opponent's team. See what I did there? I'm so funny. But yes, Terra Diancie is here, absolutely ready to wreck shop. The other amazing thing is Rock type. I don't need the Terra every single week, and I think that's extremely valuable. Obviously, it's best with Terra Fairy, but with the added Rock type, if I really wanted to save my Terra for Glaceon or Yanmega, I can get away with not Terraing Diancie, just because of the fact that I immediately already have Spadef Bulk, so I can go for an Iron Defense, and if something tries to go for a Flash Cannon, I can still tank that hit, and maybe even set up a weakness policy. Who knows? That might be fun. This also gives me another Trick Room setter as well, and that my opponents have to fear, and I think that's extremely valuable. Terra Diancie, I think I'm hoping that Terra Diancie gets at least one sweep this season, just because it's absolutely insane. I saw it was worth 13 points, and I was like, frick it, it's mine. A lot of these picks I grabbed because I was just like, frick it, I love this Pokemon, or frickin' I want to try out this Pokemon, might as well, and I'm really happy with how it turns out. Finally, the last Pokemon we'll be talking about is the second pick that I ended up picking up. It is Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash, I feel like synergizes extremely well on a sand team. It gives me an electric type with Levitate. It gives me a water type immediately as well. A bulky water type too. Granted, I don't have any form of reliable recovery, but I can run leftovers, I can run Pain Split, there's ways around it. Being able to Will-O-Wisp things and just be annoying, basically. A lot of this team is annoying, but also a lot of this team is set-up potential, and I think Rotom Wash really benefits very well from that. You don't want to switch into ground type on Rotom Wash either, and Mold Breaker, yes, but like, Excadrill is the main Mold Breaker ground type, so, I think Rotom Wash is very valuable here. I really like it a lot. Being able to spam Volt Switch even against other ground types is very, very nice. And yeah, that's the team. I'm really excited about this team. I think this is probably one of the better sand teams I've seen personally. I probably could have done with a little bit more things that benefited from the sand, not just neutral to the sand, but I think overall, I think this is a very, very good team. I really like this team a lot. I think it's going to do a lot of great things, and yeah. Let me know what your favorite Pokemon on this team is. Let me know what you're excited about. Let me know in general. Just let me know in general what you think about the team. Leave a comment down below and all that fun stuff. Very excited to be uploading this very soon. I think this will be going up on Saturdays, and then the MGL will be going up on Sundays, so that's what's going to be happening with that. I'm also currently trying to catch up on my UCDL, my NBBL, and my CDA videos. I'm kind of trying to just go through it. I am done 2 of those leagues, not going to confirm which ones are which, but, you know, we'll figure it out when we get there. But yes, so all that content will be coming very, very soon, so... And yeah, regardless, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you all so sincerely much for watching. I really, really hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm very excited about this team, and yeah, this went out a little bit longer than I expected to, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching. I already said that, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace out, mates!